Hello everyone, welcome back to Angela's Craft Room. I've come back with part 2 of this tutorial. Now you remember that we used the stamp set with this beautiful big background stamp. Now if you didn't see part 1 of the tutorial, I'll put the link to it below this tutorial and it will show you how we achieved the embossing using Versamark ink and using our Misti Tool, and then we embossed it with white embossing powder, and how we got this lovely smooth blending effect with our sponging. So the top we sponged in Soft Sky, then we brought in some pink Pirouette, and then down the bottom was Pear Pizzazz. And I did this on shimmery white cardstock, so a little bit of shimmer comes through as well. If you look at the part 1 tutorial, you will see that I used a blending tool to do my blending, and I find I get more control with that, and it enables me to have this really soft blending into all the colors image at the end. So we've done that. So what we're going to do next is we're going to do the sentiment, and we're going to white emboss it. So we're going to use our blendy tool, but because it's a clear mount stamp set and not a photopolymer, we don't need the added height. So we're taking our foam pad away, and I'm just bringing in a piece of early espresso. Just trying so you can see. Now I'm just placing the stamp where I want it about, which would be about there, and just make sure it's straight, and just make sure your cardstock is right down into that corner. And then I'm bringing over the lid and just pressing down, and when I lift I'll have to just zoom out a little bit for you. You can see the stamp is there on the lid. So when I come over, the stamp is there. Okay, so I'm just checking my grid lines. It looks pretty straight. So I'm bringing in the Versamark ink, and I'm just inking up that stamp that I've got on the lid of the Misti Tool quite well, and just place my magnets, which just watch part 1 and you'll see about the magnets, and you just bring that down and press down, bring it up, and I can see I've got a nice lot of coverage, but I'd like a little bit more, so I'm going to ink that up again. And this is the great thing with the Misti Tool, because you can ink it up until you have a good coverage and a crisp image of your stamp that you're using. And then and the magnets are keeping it in place, and I'm just bringing that down again. And I have got a good coverage, but I'm just going to do it one more time so you can see what you can do with the Misti Tool. You can just, unfortunately Stampin' Up don't have a Misti Tool at the moment. We can keep our fingers crossed, and hopefully we'll get one soon. So that's going to come back down, and I'm just going to press down. Alright, lift that up. So I know I've got good coverage there, so I'm taking the magnets off, lifting that off. So I just take the Misti Tool away for a minute, pop the lid on my Versamark ink, then I'm just bringing in a piece of normal photocopy paper, and I'm placing the stamp image on there, and I'm just going to generously coat this over. just let it not too worried because I'm going to punch this out with the corresponding punch. So as long as I've got, I should have used the embossing buddy to rub over it before I did it, but I forgot to do that, so we'll just flick it. So that's pretty good. So then we're just going to pop that little bit of embossing powder back in there, so we're not wasting any at all. And then we're going to bring in our heat tool. So pop that away, then just brush that off. It's just got a little bit of embossing powder on it. It's just, don't want to transfer it onto the card. So you can see how that's embossed nicely. Now we're just going to heat set it, and it will just make a bit of a noise for a while, but you'll see, if I bring it in for you, you'll see that it'll just start melting away. So there we go. You can see that that's melted away quite nicely, and it feels quite warm, but it dries pretty much straight away. So we've got our matching badge. Oops, we'll just go back out again. Got our matching badge punch for the stamp set I used for the sentiment, which was badges and banners, and that's it there. And there's quite a few different things you can make with that one, but I always like to get the matching thinlets, framelets, or just need to pop. So I just need to cut a little bit off the bottom there because it's a bit far up to line up, just to line up that badge. Right, so we're in there, so we're just lining it up. Once you're happy how you've lined it up, you just squeeze the punch together and you get that perfect, wonderful sentiment for your card. So that's going to look lovely on that flower. Okay, so what we want to do now is I'm just going to bring in our original piece, and I've got a piece of mint macaron sheer ribbon. And we're just going to now, if you've watched my stamping, you'll know that I don't put any adhesive under the front of my card. I always put some, when I'm adhering lace or ribbon, it's a tip for you. I just put it on the back. So I just want to see where I want it to be, about there. Just clip that off. Then we'll just get some tweezers, or if you've got the paper piercing tool, you can just simply pull that off. Just pop that over. So I'll just let it adhere to there, to the back. And you just want to make sure this is going to be straight, this side. Sorry, I'm going out of camera, it's not good. So just eyeballing it a bit. So you've got the nice ribbon there. So just let it go down on the tear and tape at the back of your card and just trim it off. I have to get my sharp scissors. So we just want to trim that off. And so we've got that there. So now we're going to bring back in the Misti Tool to do our sentiment on the card. Okay, so here we go. We're just going to open it up. Just go back a bit for you so you can see. There we go. So this time I'm using from the designer tin of cards, I'm using this stamp set, this image here, and there's some little hearts in there as well that we're going to use. So we'll just get, this is a photopolymer stamp set, so we need our piece of sponge back in because it's photopolymer. It's a lot thinner than the clear mount. Now we want this one. So I'm going to place the card, or the top panel of my card, in there, and then just pop the magnets so they don't move. Then I'm just going to put that exactly where I want it on the panel. Okay, and this is where the Misti Tool is just really good for positioning these. So I'm quite happy for it to be about there. So I'm just going to press down and it comes up. Just make sure that stays in that corner, and I'm using StazOn Jet Black, and I'm just going to stamp that up. Now why I use StazOn Jet Black is because it's such a vibrant black, and I do a lot of watercolouring, so I always use StazOn Jet Black for that. Just make sure, always have a little rag or tissue just to get any, you don't want any bits transferring to the panel. So I'm just going to bring that down, press down, bring it back up, and you'll find the photopolymer. Now you see how that hasn't really given me a nice crisp image, so I'm going to stamp up with the StazOn Jet Black again. Make sure that's in the corner and bring that down, press down, and see how the pieces it missed before, it's given a lovely crisp image there. Okay, so just down in this corner from the same stamp set, tin of cards, I've got 3 little hearts, and I'm just going to position them there. It's just a matter of getting your fingers off, but you want it straight. Like that. And I could go over that again, but I'm quite happy how that is. But I can leave it in that position, and I'm just going to bring that over, and that will pick up my hearts. Alright, so just make sure that's still in the corner, and using the Stays On Jet Black again, I'm going to just ink up my hearts. And I know they're most probably out of your range, and while I'm at it I might as well ink this one up again because it's still there on my lid, just to give it a bit more crisper. Just wiping the corner of my Misti Tool because there's a bit of black ink on there, and just bring it down, press it down mainly on the hearts, and just bring that back up. And you can see the hearts isn't a nice crisp image, so I'm not going to add any more ink to this one, but I'm just going to ink up those hearts again. Make sure that's right in the corner. Bring it down, press on the hearts. So we'll just do it one more time. Just press down on your hearts. And so it's given a nice crisp image. So we'll just slide those magnets off. Try not to let them touch each other because they're very hard to get apart. So then you've got this stamped image down here, and you've got your little hearts down here. Okay, so then we'll just remove the Misti for now. And then just using some dimensionals, I'm just going to pop this off to the side because I don't want it to cover. Just give it a bit of a rub. I don't want it to cover this lovely image here, so I'm just going to have it about there. So we'll just get the dimensionals, which are right here. Just pop the dimensionals on the back of the badge. So I just thought it was better to do this card in part 1 and part 2 because it would have just gone way too long otherwise. If you would like to see a tutorial on anything, I'm happy to help. Just put it in the comments below. I have a couple of requests already for other cards which I will get done. But if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. And we're just going to press that down. Please subscribe to my channel, and then I know that you're liking what I'm doing the tutorials on. So you've got that lovely image, such an easy card with a few different techniques, and you could even just put some pearls along here if you wanted to. But what we'll do is just bring in the base card, which is sky blue. Okay, so that's just 11 inches by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4, just the basic. And then I've just gone down by 1/4 inch and done my first base. So I'll just grab my snail and just pop that along there, that along there. And I will put the link to my blog and also to my online store if you're needing any Stampin' Up supplies. So that's on there. And then we're just going to, we need to put a little bit of tear and tape on the ribbon, or if you ever put lace on at the back, you need to put tear and tape on so that it will adhere to your card. So we're just going to bring so that will just come off. Wonderful. Then I'm just going, for ease of the tutorial, normally I use multi-purpose glue as most people know, but I'm just going to put some snail on today and hope I can put my top panel on straight. The good thing with the multi-purpose liquid glue is it does give you a few seconds to move it if it's not quite straight, but using the snail, you've just got to be sure that you've got it straight because you only get one chance at it. So just bring your card back in. I'm just eyeballing it so that's straight at the top. Needs to go up a bit. So it's straight and down. So I just like to turn it over and just give it a rub, and that helps it adhere the front panel rather than getting ink all over the card. So that's our card, that's our finished card for today. We'll just bring you in close. So we've used, over the part 1 and part 2, we have used a few different techniques. So as I said, I will put the link to part 1 underneath, and this is part 2 of our finished card. So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and until next time, happy crafting!